Hi, this is the WayOut series. It is a collection of testimonies and revelations that can help you in your own healing journey. This is an online training on renewing your mind, inner healing, based on the way that's already behind me. This is not a few-step program. It is an encouragement and tools from someone on the way out to others on the way out. I believe that what meant a turning point for me will become yours as well. Have a great way out. Hi, this is the 13th session of the WayOut series. In the previous one, I was talking about how my theological change and the shift in my view on the nature of God has affected my emotional well-being, and how I spent the COVID time and all this lockdown season. So I used to live in a 9 square meters flat, which is not big, and I loved that time of my life. And all of a sudden I had to move out of this place and I had nowhere to go, and I really felt like I don't know what to do. Like my whole life is just seems like collapsing, and I can't continue my ministry things if I don't have a place to stay. And I felt like God was telling me that He wants to bring me to a better place, like a place where I can just do what I do, like counseling people, do discipleship meetings, do the shootings, and have my little office and spend time with God and all of that, and do the art things. So that's what I was that's what God was talking about. Like, you should choose a place that is suitable for all of that. And I'm like, oh, I don't have the money for that. And God just said, like, okay, just do that and I'm gonna provide for it. And I was really hesitating, like I can't do that. I don't have regular income at all. And I told Him, like, I only do that if you send me that much amount of money. If I have that much amount of money, then I will take this flat that is way out of my price range. I used to be, at least. And it happened. Like that, the amount of money I mentioned to God was on my account. And it was really like stepping out to the unknown and letting go of control, which is actually the most striking thing about this season of my life. Like, I am always taken to the edge, and then God says, okay, this is the time to let go of control, and I'm gonna catch you. Like, maybe I let you fall a little bit, or maybe I don't let you fall at all, but I promise I will catch you. And and the first month of living in this flat was alone, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna have a great time with God, and I'm gonna really have a close time with Him, and it didn't happen. I was feeling like terrible almost all the time. I tried to like spend time with God, and I felt like nothing works for me, and I was sad for no reason. I felt like I'm depressed again, but there was no reason for it, because everything just started to like come together in my life. And I was upset because I was like, I'm better than that. Like, I experienced way much greater freedoms than that. So I don't know why I feel like that right now. And it was like being disappointed about myself. Like, how could it happen? And I had this vision, like, this is a long time vision, when I saw myself walking and summer was in front of me and winter was following me. And every time I was looking ahead, I saw summer, and every time I was looking back, I saw winter. And there was a time when other people like prophesied that over me, like, this is how you experience your life right now. And I was like, oh God, I don't want that. Like, I feel like maybe winter is a little bit before me now, not just behind me. And I just don't want to be like haunted by depression. Like, it's not in the forefront of my life, but it is somehow like following me. And every time I have like a bad experience or something, I'm back into the same thought patterns. I don't want to be like followed by winter. I want to be surrounded by summer. When will I be that free? And in that retreat month, I was listening to a song, Endless Summer. It's not a very famous song. Welcome, my dear, to the endless summer. That's what the lyric says, and I really felt like God was telling me, like, this is your last dark season. Like, you will experience the endless summer, both ahead of you and behind you. You will have it. And this is happening this year, and you're gonna be laughing at what has happened to you, and depression won't be even in the backside of your mind. And I was like, okay, yeah, I hope so. And I had this like anxiety about my relationship with God. Like, this is the most important thing for me, and because it was important for me, I allowed the control mindset to twist it. Like, because it is the most important thing for me, I'm gonna make the most effort to make it right. And it didn't work. Like, I felt like I can't connect with God. I can't do that. And I felt like it's a personal failure. Like, I should be feeling a certain way. I should love Him. I should feel peace. I should be in an experience, and I'm not. And I don't know what I do wrong. I used to be better, and now I'm just not there anymore. Maybe I don't love God at all. Or yeah. I had those feelings about this reoccurring stress and fear. And I know it's not for everyone, like having anxiety about your relationship with God, but it can happen with anything you have as precious, you consider to be like the most valuable. Maybe how you raise your kid, how you treat your spouse, how you do your career, whatever. Like, what is the most important thing for you? This is something that the enemy tries to flips into control and stress. Like, you think it's the most valuable, then you must do everything, and if not, you will feel that it will be a disaster. And that's you are like, oh yeah, I should do everything to prevent this prevent anything bad to happen to it because I think it's valuable. And this is not how you express that something is valuable, that you try to control it. Like, you can be interested in something and love something and enjoy something and give your whole heart to something without the sense of control. And that's what I'm just starting to learn. I'm very much in the beginning of learning how to let go of manipulation. It is crazy for me to realize how God is not into manipulation. Like, he can't control anything and he refuses to do so. He allows everyone to do whatever they want, and he is okay with the consequences, no matter how terrible they are. And he's like, okay, you have this choice, and contrary to what you do, I'm still gonna make my will happen. And he's not like, you are trying to sabotage my will, so I'm gonna control you to avoid your wrong steps. He's like, you can do all your wrong steps, and even so, even if you do so, I'm gonna still have my plans, contrary to your choices, contrary to all the things you do and think and behave and all that. Yeah, so he could control, and he refuses to do so. And he kind of tries to teach us that, the whole universe works by me stepping back and let you do what you want and still have your back in it and still make the best of it and make the best out of it and still make my will happen even if you are against it. And like, I'm playing this game and you can play that game too. Like, you can let go and hope that it will work out. And the automatic lie in our heads, like, if we let go, things will be terrible. Like, the worst case scenario will happen, and we are like, oh no, I'm gonna do anything just to avoid that to happen. And that's how the enemy, or our minds, maybe they are the same, tricks us. Yes. And it's we shouldn't fall into it. It's okay. You can bring your worst case scenario. Nothing will change. Bring it on. What is your worst script? Even if that happens, nothing about my true being will change. I will have the same value, the same skills, the same purpose. I will be just as valuable, just as lovable. Nothing true and real about me can be changed with your worst case scenario. And we need to learn that that we don't go to control just because we have a scenario in our minds that are not that pleasant. Like, the enemy can, and our minds can always make up a scenario that feels like we are forced to control. And that's a lie. And even if we succeed controlling the situations, we don't enjoy it because we are stressed out about controlling it. And if we fail in it a little bit, we feel like even our best control wasn't enough, so we should control even more. So it's a lose-or-lose game. It's something you can never win. So God was telling me that I'm gonna have this season when I'm gonna be forever in summer, and then like happiness and well-being, and not a hint of depression left. And the first thing that was from God, I think, I decided that I would spend my day until lunch with God, either with sleep or in silence or in worship or in all of them. But this is going to be my time for rest and resting in God. And I had no like structure in my life, like as a missionary, every day was different. And now I have this thing like, okay, the mornings are mine. And it was a huge thing because ministry life can just consume your life. And I used to spend a lot of time with God even before that. But this really drawing a line in the sand, like, okay, this is what I'm doing. And it helped a lot. And in one of those mornings, I don't remember when, it wasn't a huge happening. I just had this understanding somehow that the presence of God and my experience of the presence is not the same. Like, what I call the presence when I feel warmth and joy and see visions and have experiences is not actually the presence of God. It is my reaction to the presence of God. And it's a huge difference, because when I don't feel them, it's not the proof of the lack of the presence, it's actually the lack of my reaction to it. And it's okay that I don't have a certain reaction to the presence if the presence is always constant and unchanging in me. As I talked about it in the previous session, like there is this place of constant presence in me, the place of silence, the innermost chamber where God dwells. So I just had this, it wasn't that long understanding it. It was just a shift in my mind, like I cannot miss it. I cannot feel it anymore, because even if I don't have it, I have it. Even if I don't have my reactions that I love and appreciate so much to the presence of God, I'm still having it. Even if my mind goes everywhere and I'm not aware of Him, not even a bit, I'm in the presence. I cannot leave it. And I can enjoy the presence without enjoying it. And I can be in it without being in it. So even if the worst case happens, that I can't pay attention to it, I can't love it, I can't worship Him, I can't do what I love to do so much, the presence is constant and I'm in it. And I can enjoy the pure fact that this presence exists. Even if nothing in my mind and emotion proves it. And that I had this extreme freedom, like even if I will never go back to the place when I have certain experiences, I don't lose anything, because this is a constant thing. Even if my attention is not there and my reactions are not there, it is there. yeah, and all of a sudden I felt like this, I can't miss it anymore. Like, there's no way I can miss out on the presence anymore, because even if I feel like missing out, I can just simply enjoy the fact that I can't miss out even if I feel like it. Of course, there are times when I forget about it, but this was this first, like, okay, I can't fail at this again. And I know not all the people can relate to it. It was an issue of stress for me, because it is the most important thing about my life, because I almost live like a nun, like spending all my time on God and on God's kingdom. So it's like, that's the thing for me. And many times we choose like good things to be the first, like raising your kids, being a good spouse, like achieving well and things like that, or like having a good relationship with God. And the very good things can be shifted into our greatest burden if we allow our minds to make a performance issue out of it. When we allow the enemy to convince us that this is something you need to control because you know it's the most valuable, so you can do your all to keep it right. And this is a lie. You don't value with your control. It's actually quite the opposite, because when you control, then you are stressed out. When you're stressed out, you don't enjoy it. So what should be the greatest joy of your life, because you know it's the most important, becomes your greatest misery. And that's what happened to me at a time. Like, I started to pay all my attention on my relationship with God because it was so much fun. And after a while, it was the source of depression for me, because I felt like I'm failing at it all the time. And we can play this mind game that, okay, even if I can't do it the way I think would be the most the best version, that suits its value the most, it's okay. And it doesn't prove that I don't appreciate it, or I don't love it. I won't convert my love and appreciation into control and manipulation. So there was this great sense of freedom when I realized that even the worst case scenario doesn't steal anything. And whatever you think to be the most important thing in your life, you need to get to this place in your mind that it's okay even if I fail in it. It's good to trust in ourselves, like, oh, I won't fail at it. But it can happen. You can't control all the factors, all the circumstances, the choices of all the other people. It can happen that something fails, and then you are like, oh, I trusted in myself in vain. It's good to trust in ourselves because God is in us, and we are creative and we are very powerful. But it's good to trust that even if it goes wrong, it's still okay. Like, it's good to get to the place that I think I'm gonna be able to do it, and I'm gonna give my best, and I won't be devastated even if the worst case scenario happens. I'm not there, but this freedom is available, and I feel like God is calling me to this freedom, and I think He's calling you as well. So later God opened the opportunities to publish our first book, and I have no skills, no money, no professional resources, no knowledge, no experience on book publishing and in anything related to it. Like, the only thing I had some knowledge of is how to design a book cover. I had a little bit of knowledge on that, but everything else was like complete mystery for me. And every day I received an email that flipped everything upside down, that made me feel like I will never make it. And I had to like give it up almost every day. Like, I can't control that. I can't make it happen. And it was such a good school for me to learn how to let go of control. Like, I had plans and then I had to give them up. And then I had other plans and I had to give them up as well. And there was such a freedom in it. Like, I can't do that. I can't like do everything in a way that it surely prevents disaster. Like, I can't do that. I'm not able to plan out the things that well. And it was so good to see that God was always showing up. Like, I reached the edge of myself and the end of myself, and he was like, oh, I like that place. Actually, you can start there. You will learn how to like start things with giving up control. You don't have to be devastated when you give up control. Like, you don't need to go there to give up control. You can start with it. And that's what I'm learning, like starting things with this heart of like, I'm not in control. I used to live my whole life in crazy control. Like, I learned always the most. I even learned the topics that are like loosely related to my exams, just so that I could never ever fail, like just to make it impossible that I do wrong. And it meant a lot of effort on my part and a lot of stress. Like, it consumed my whole life basically, and I was all about stress all the time. And then there was a season when I stopped doing most of the things in my life because I felt like God doesn't want me to be in stress, so I quit everything that makes me feel stressed. And this is the time of my life when God just calls me back, like, you can do that. Actually, it's a gift of mine, but you can do it without stress. Like, I'm a perfectionist and a maximalist, so I can make my life miserable if I keep control. And God just tells me that, oh, it's all a gift from me. Like, it's from me that you want to do things well and in good quality, and you do want to make things in a creative way. It's all from me. You can do it out of joy. Like, you can be about the best out of the motivation of joy. You have always done that out of the motivation of fear and anxiety, and it was bad, but you can do the same things with a completely other framework. Yeah, that's what I'm learning now, and every now and then I'm failing at it. It's not like, if you realize control in what you do, like, you should stop it immediately because now you're doing something wrong. It's more like you observe what you do in control, and you are like, okay, that's not who I am, that's not what I'm supposed to be, I can be free from that. And God just shifted in me. I remember like last week I felt like I can't change something in me. Like I know I shouldn't be controlling over it, and I can't. Like I don't know how to not to control. And I'm helpless, God, just that's it. And I woke up the next morning and I felt like it's gone. Like it shifted while I was sleeping. And I don't know how and when, it just happened. So even you cannot even control how you give up control. Even that won't happen. Last week, or the week before last week, I don't know, I made a mistake that I was always afraid to make. Like, it's not a big issue, like not many people know about it. It's not a visible thing, but I felt like it was hurtful for me. Like I didn't want to make that mistake. And I was disappointed. And I felt like God was telling me, you've done something you were always afraid of. And can't you see that it's okay? Like, nothing changed actually. You're the same person. You are still lovable. You still have friends. You're still not an outcast. You're still not worthless. You still impact a lot of people. Like, nothing really changed. You feel like everything collapsed, but actually nothing collapsed. It was crazy. And the strange thing about this is that it made me feel anxiety that I haven't felt for a long time. Like, it's like I broke the habit of being anxious, and it felt so alien to be anxious again. Like, I didn't know how long I have not felt it. Like, it's like I try to remember when was the last time I was that anxious. And it was good to feel like this anxiety was my everyday thing, and now it's like a very rare occasion to happen to me. And even that made me feel good about like, oh, I've fallen back, and how could I allow this anxiety back again? And God was just telling me that it's okay. It came to the surface because it had to come to the surface, because this was the last region in your life where you have kept your control, and this makes you anxious. And I have brought it up so that you can say goodbye to it. This is the day when we are breaking this anxiety in your thinking, and you won't have it again. And it really happened. Like, God just gave me a proof that nothing changed, and the person I heard like called me, and it was like nothing happened. So it was like it came full circle. But it was a powerful thing to like see how much my failure doesn't really ruin everything. Like, it was so powerful. And God was just telling me that I'm gonna force you to give up control in all the remaining areas of your life. Like, you have given up control in so many areas of your life. Like, you feel okay, like you have this sense of freedom. And in some of the areas where you haven't given up control, that's where you can feel anxious, and you can feel like you are not good enough and things like that. So basically he just showed me that this and this and this works awesome in your life. Like, you don't try to make a career and be famous, and it just happens automatically, and you don't try to like have disciples and impact a lot of people, and it does happen. And there are things that you try to make happen and it just feels like miserable, and why don't you just give that up? And it was crazy to see that all the areas of my life that actually work are the areas where I have given up control. And giving up control doesn't mean that you don't do anything ever, or you don't enter a door when it's open. Like, it's not like never doing anything even if you have the opportunity to do so. It's like the attitude of your heart. And it feels like if I give up control, then the things will be even worse. And this is not true. They won't be worse. You can actually do things way much better when you are not under the pressure of controlling it. All the creativity and perfection is released in you when you are no longer under performance. And I'm learning it mostly the hard way. Like, not always. Like, God says first, like, you don't need to like ask everything from me. You can have your own choice. I'm gonna be with you. You don't have to like be anxious about my will. You are in my will. There are so many options in my will. Just go and choose one, and I'm gonna be with you. And I'm like, oh, it's too much freedom. I don't want that much freedom. I need someone to tell me what to do. And he's like, oh, I'm not that person. I'm not manipulating you. I'm not that guy. And if I can, as God, I can afford not to manipulate you. Probably you can also afford not to manipulate your situations. Like, it's a pretty high position to be in when you are God. And even there, if you can afford not to control everything, probably not. It is not the control that makes the universe work. Yeah, and slowly I'm grasping it. Very slowly. So nowadays it's like living in the grace of one day, as William Paul Young says. Like, being just a child and trusting God that He knows everything and He oversees everything. And if God opens the door, you won't miss it because you are not in control. You will see it. Maybe every now and then you will be too free to realize it, but it won't happen that often. Like, and it's worth to like miss one or two good options just so that you learn how freedom works. Not that long ago, I had this realization that I'm kind of like a normal person now, and like I'm kind of healthy. Like, I can function, I can do things healthy people do, so probably I'm healthy. Like, at the social standard, I'm the healthy category, and still I feel like there is way much more freedom. Like, I don't think that this is all. Like, there's so many twistedness in our thinking and so many stress that are socially acceptable. There are no Latin names for it. They are not in the mental issues lexicon, and they are still far away from the original design of God. And if the perfect freedom and health is part of salvation, and this is something God wants to give us, like free, and it's a gift from Him, and He even helps us to discover it and teach it to us, and He has endless time and patience to lead us there. Why wouldn't we not? Why wouldn't we not discover it and enjoy it and give ourselves to it? Why would we say that, oh, it's okay, I'm doing great now, like most of the time. Now I can have a job. Now I can have a relationship. I'm healthy enough for that. There's way much better ideas in God's head about perfect freedom than that. Actually, there's no point in talking about mental illness. In the whole world, even the healthiest person is severely damaged and traumatized comparing to what God has designed. So there are high perspectives in our freedom in God. And it's not about like feeling miserable about, oh, I'm so messed up, I'm so far away from God's idea of freedom. It's like, even if you're feeling okay, there are places to go in freedom, and there is a danger to feeling okay, because you are like, oh, how emotionally twisted I am right now is socially acceptable, so I'm gonna stay like it. There is a danger to that. I've experienced that. Now I'm doing okay, like now I'm gonna be a good citizen. And God is like, are you sure? Like, you have experienced how much I can change you. Don't you just want to continue that? Like, you've seen how much you are not the same, like, in 5 years. Like, aren't you interested what I can do with you in the next 5 years? And then I said, yes, God, you can shift my life, you can bulldoze everything down, you can do whatever. I want to experience who you have created me to be. And He took it seriously. So every now and then He makes me stand in the edge of a cliff looking down, and He's like, you're gonna jump and I'm gonna catch you. And the next thing, He's teaching me this control issue, and He's very strict about it. Every time I'm in control, He's like, don't you feel like it hurts? You know why it hurts? Because you're controlling it. Stop control and it won't hurt anymore. And nowadays I'm just like enjoying the now, enjoying what is going on, not overthink it like what should be and how much better it would be if, and all of that. As a perfectionist, it's easy for me to go there, and I feel like God is like, don't judge, don't analyze, don't do that stuff. Just be a child in that moment and enjoy it. And now I have so much joy in the silly things, like little things. And God is like, it's okay to take time to enjoy life. Like, that's why I made you alive. Like, that was the reason. It wasn't like you should reach this and that. It was like, I created you so that you enjoy life. Yeah. Giving up control can hurt because we love striving. We love suffering, in a sense. This feels like home. For me, it was like how I managed life. And now, living without it, it feels like every now and then I try to cling to it, like, oh, can I just go back there for a little time, like just to feel home? And God is like, okay, but it's gonna hurt. Tell me if you had enough. I'm gonna catch you. There is this lie from our mind and from the enemy, maybe they are the same, that if that doesn't happen, that you're going to miss out. Like, it says that if you don't have certain things, like perfect relationship, perfect job, perfect this and that, like, you can't enjoy life. You can't accomplish what you are designed to be. And you surely can't have the joy and freedom you associate with it. And it can say that it will never happen, or you're not good enough so that it happens, you're not able to have them, or you will only have it later, or you only have it if you meet the requirements, or if the circumstances change. And all of them are lies the same way, because God can make that happen. He can give you good relationship and career and achievement and all that. And that's true, He can do those things. But here comes the trick. Even if those things doesn't happen like in real life on earth, you can still have the joy and freedom that you attached to those happenings. Like, God can give you the physical manifestation of having those things. It's a lie that they cannot happen, or they will only happen like in heaven, or things like that. But even if they somehow don't happen, like because of the choices of other people God doesn't control, it's not true that you can only have the freedom and the joy of those things only if you have those things. Like, God can give you those things, but God can give you the joy and freedom related to them even without those things. And now I'm having this season, like, I have this idea that maybe I will be that happy if I do that, and if that happens, that it will make me feel that free. And God is like, why don't you do that tomorrow? I mean, you can do that. Or, it's okay if it never happens. I can give you the joy of it right now. Why don't you allow yourself to feel the joy of it? I'm more than ready to give it to you. Yeah. So you don't have to delay anything, like make it to be like unreachable in the future. Like, I will never be able to do that and be like that. They are all lies. You can have it all right now. Maybe not in a way you think it should happen, but God can give you that contrary to the circumstances. Yeah. And many times we are in control because this must happen because I want to feel that happy and that free. And God is like, you don't have to make it happen. You can feel the joy and freedom of it anytime. Yeah. So I'm in this season of learning to trust and allowing God to go into the hidden places of my mind and shining His light on all the leftovers of anxiety and control. And I just want to learn how to trust Daddy, how to trust that He is a daddy that is endlessly powerful and rich, and He's in a good mood. So if I break the window at school, and if I flip the tables and break them, He can pay for all of them. And He will do happily so. So even if I mess up things by practicing my freedom, He's gonna have my back. So it's an easy life, and I'm learning to take it that easy. As a control freak, or as an ex-control freak, it feels a bit weird, but this is the place where God is calling me, and God is calling you, and I'm so excited what God is doing in us. I can't wait for your testimonies, what you've experienced during this series. I'm sure that you are in the process of healing, and God is healing you right now. You are right in the middle of it, and He will finish what He has started. So I'm excited for what God is leading us to, and how He introduces you to yourself and me to myself, and just the whole joy and freedom He's revealing to us beyond health, beyond our concept of mental well-being, how He shows us what He designed us to be, and that He is leading us there, and He won't stop doing so until we will be just like He dreamed us to be. I don't know in what way I'm gonna continue this series. Maybe I'm gonna have some more insights later, and I'm gonna share with those as well. I don't know how it's going to happen. Thank you for watching this series, and I can't wait for what is going to happen in your lives and in my life. Have a great way out. Thank you for watching this video. I hope it was a blessing for you. This course is completely free of charge. However, the production and editing has a cost, and I wanted to produce this series in the best possible quality and make it available to everyone absolutely free on YouTube. So if you feel led to, please contribute with any amount to the production costs. All the donation options and the payment methods are available in the description.